So I just wanted to say a few words since we're doing pranayama practices this month. A word about what the distinction is between a pranayama practice and a meditation practice, or what we often call here a stillness practice. And after me speaking on this for a couple of minutes, you might understand better why I call it that. In the Yoga Sutras, pranayama practice is the fourth limb of yoga. And the first three limbs of yoga, as Patanjali lays them out, are really about sort of how we act out in the world, the yamas and the niyamas, how we act out in the world. You could even say the yamas are how we act out in the world, and the niyamas is more sort of how we act in our daily patterns and in our kind of home life. And then asana is the third. So asana is when we do our yoga practices, our physical practices, when we work on our embodiment. And then we get to pranayama. And so pranayama has this position of being a kind of bridge between the outer and the inner. The last four are pratyahara, which is a withdrawing inward. It's basically, in a way, leaving the world of other people, of our daily routines, of our physical bodies, and even of the breath in our physical bodies, and withdrawing inward to the inner reality that happens in our consciousness all the time, whether we're asleep and we're dreaming, or in some way or another, there's this inner world. And so pratyahara is this step of learning how to make that transition of kind of going inward. The last three are all meditation, right? The last three limbs are dharana, which is learning how to focus, dhyana, which is learning how to sustain focus in a kind of easeful, graceful way, and samadhi is learning how to be in that meditative state without any technique or effort. And so pranayama is this transition kind of practice where we're both using the inner and the outer, where we're learning how to, we're not shutting out awareness, bodily awareness yet. We are very aware of our bodies and our relationship with nature and the outer world via our breath. And so a stillness practice, which is the main thing that I teach really, is something that happens on the inside. So when you're doing your stillness practice, I could be looking at you and really not know what is going on inside. The first four limbs of yoga, if somebody's doing them, I can see it. I can kind of prove that. The inner work becomes subtler and subtler, so that those limbs go from sort of outer to inner, from grosser to subtler, so more obvious to less. And I just wanted to clarify that distinction, and to point out that the breath work is a little bit different than just meditation. That being said, we do some kind of breath awareness in every meditation that I teach. It's a primary step of our meditation because it is such an ever-present and valuable guru. And I am not going to say much more today. I just wanted to give you guys that little tidbit, and I'll share a little bit more next week about this. And as you do your practices this week, I want you to be clear about when you're using technique and when you're really doing a practice and you're going for it. It's like I go for a run and I come back from the run and I feel different. Same with this breathwork practice. It's a physical embodied practice that we master over time. and it can have really, really huge benefits. But I also want you to leave time for that deep, deep stillness of just being and letting go of the technique. Yes, and just being awareness, being the one that is watching the experience rather than doing the experience. All right. Let me know how it goes, and post comments or share questions below this video.